Hello and welcome. It's an absolutely gorgeous evening to do this little treatment, so I really hope you enjoy. My name is Calliope, and we will be doing a lymphatic drainage treatment. And I want to start with your face, if you don't mind, and we'll chat a little bit along the way. Okay, so the very first thing we want to do in lymphatic drainage is prepare the major site of drainage. So for the head and neck, we are going to use these supraclavicular nodes right in here. So we are going to just use some very gentle circling to start up the process. All of these moves are going to be extraordinarily gentle with my hands, and we can get a little more firm with the rest of the body, but head and neck, we want to stay real gentle. So, manual lymphatic drainage work, right? Just going to come up on the neck and using these little circles in which we push down and then pull off with the pressure and come back up. We're just going to come around the neck here. So this is used for helping the body's lymphatic drainage system clear out a little bit better. So, oftentimes we see people, like with cancer, who might have lymph backup, especially if they've had lymph nodes removed. We can help with that. Come under here. And sometimes this can help with conditions like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. If you've been ill, this can help just get rid of, well, your lymphatic system is basically like a little street cleaner. So your blood travels through your body, and most of it comes back to your heart, but sometimes along the way, it gets a little left behind. So your lymphatic system's job is to pick up that blood and any other sort of waste products and bring it back. So, street cleaner, basically. And if you've been sick before and had lymph nodes distended at all, you might feel them quite swollen, doing a little bit of overtime work. So we can help support the system by doing a bit of manual drainage. And I'm just working up because everything is going to have to flow downwards. But we want to make sure every channel is is clear beforehand. Working with the post-auricular nodes now. We can use those and just run lymph fluid that way. Good. Coming right up in here and just continuing with those little circles. So coming down, taking off the pressure, coming back. Now, manual lymphatic drainage has different types of techniques and protocols, like the Vater protocols, for example. The Vater style, which is essentially the original. But it is a pretty basic set of different types of moves. Some are pumping moves, some just help with the movement of fluid. Okay, let me come right in here, and I'm just going to be very gentle here. Very gentle. So while we're using similar techniques, we're not necessarily using their set protocol. There. Just very gently working our way down so that we can move this to the nearest node site. Right here at the ears, and then we can bring that all the way down. Just going to move that way and this way. Good. Now, none of this should be painful. I'm using extremely light pressure. We're really only moving the skin. Lymphatic system is very shallow to the body, or in the body rather. I'm going to just very gently work right here and come down. But if anything feels tender at all, just let me know so we can avoid that area. Good. And just push that to the nodes. You have quite a few different nodes throughout the body. Some of our major sites are like the supraclavicular nodes, axillary nodes, inguinal. Good. So we'll just take this down and bring it down the neck to the clavicular nodes here. Good. So gentle. Just going to use one finger and lightly bring that down. So most massage on the face as you work upwards against the direction of gravity across the bridge of the nose. But in this application, we want to move towards node sites. On the face, we work downwards. Good. That's perfect. Just bringing that down. We've opened these areas up, cleared them out. Let me just come along the jaw here. And we'll bring that down to the submental and submandibular nodes under the jaw before clearing those out. It's such a beautiful evening, isn't it? It's finally gotten quite brisk. Quite brisk and crisp. Very cozy. Let's just bring that down. Down the neck. Just encouraging the flow. There. And working the sides of the neck here. There. Good. And bringing the lymph fluid down. 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 Soft, slow. Okay. So, now I'm going to have you lay down so that we can get to other areas of your body. So, I'll give you a moment, get all situated, and then we can work on the arms. Now that you're all situated, I am going to take this arm, if you don't mind, and just lay it out so it's more perpendicular to your body. And I will be supporting your arm the whole time. Here, our main area that we want to drain into is going to be the axillary node area. So I'm using my fingertips to do basically what we did with the supraclavicular nodes. And getting this spot ready to go. Then we can work down. We can work from the lymph nodes in the arm, and then push everything from distal to proximal. So with the arm, we have a couple of things we can do. I'm going to come on the inside of the upper arm here, and when we've got everything opened up, we can use the hand to grip around and push the fluid instead of just using the flats of the fingers. And use the hand. Okay, just coming down, just working along the inside of the arm. And again, if anything is painful or tender, just let me know. Might be nice to just take a deep breath or two. All the way to the hand here. So, we've cleared out everything from the hand to the underarm here. So, this is where we can use the hand. So if I'm holding your arm like this, I can use each hand to work up the arm. And I can also use each hand to just almost squeeze the arm, kind of like if you've ever had those really cheap popsicles, like the pop ices, I think they're called, where you cut off the little spiky plastic end. It's kind of like when you are getting towards the end of the popsicle and you have to push that up. I remember quite a few summers with those popsicles. You got quite a few of them for not a lot of money, so we generally always had those. So we bring this all the way up and we just keep working our way from the hand upwards. And we're still using just that gentle pressure. It might be just a little bit more because the face is a lot more delicate than the arm, although certainly the inner arm here, we're still being rather delicate. Good. I just want to drain the area a bit, so I'm going to come back into the underarm so that we can empty this out. Good. And just work back down the arm. Clear everything out. Gentle, slow, relaxing, nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Just doing a little something for yourself. Do a little run through. I'm focusing a lot on the inner arm. That's where our nodes are. But we need to also make sure that the outer arm is getting cleared out. Okay, so moving from the wrist up the arm, and using the inside of my hand there, thumb, index finger, to the shoulder. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of work on the upper chest here, as we can bring that down into this node. We're using the flats of the fingers, using my thumb as a pivot point to work downwards. There we are. Oftentimes people, when they get these treatments, they feel a sort of lightness, maybe even a bit of energy. It can be a little tiring for the body to be bogged it down. So if we just clear all this out, and everything just runs a little smoother. That's what we're looking for. We might not be able to work miracles necessarily, but we can make everything run just a little smoother. Okay, so let's go ahead and swap to the other arm, and then we can repeat all this on this other side. Let's bring the arm out, get you all situated, and use stationary circles to open this area up. Good. We'll just stick here for a little bit. Make sure we get everything moving. And then we can start migrating down the arm and just staying with those circles to start before we get into anything fancy. You can even use two hands here. In a good position, this favors my dominant side a little bit better, so it's easier to coordinate. Isn't that kind of funny then? We have one side that essentially does everything for us, and another side that generally messes things up a lot more than it can handle the bulk of things. Although, perhaps the non-dominant side is not necessarily as dexterous, but it's absolutely, like, you need that support. It's not useless. It's just not the side you rely on. I wonder why that is, though. Why one side is favored where it would be advantageous, I would think, to naturally be ambidextrous. I wonder if it's just sort of a priority thing. Like, it's more important for the bare minimum to be dominant on one side. Less brain power needs to go to ambidexterity be used for more important things. Good, all the way down to the wrist. So from here, we can work from the wrist and come up here. So this is where we get fancy. And we can push the fluid forward. Mostly just moving the skin, not really putting any pressure or weight behind it. It's funny, some people, when they go for lymphatic drainage, they are often under the impression it's going to be more like a massage. And while we're using massage-like movements, it doesn't go any deeper than the skin, which is not necessarily what someone is looking for when they want like a relaxation massage or something of that caliber. Good. So yeah, often you have to just give a little bit more information about what the lymphatic drainage entails. Not that it won't be therapeutic on its own, it just is different. It's just different. Different set of goals in mind. Good, let's go ahead and just drain this area out a little bit. Make sure we're clearing along the way. Good. And then we can bring everything forward and just let that continue up the system. It's really quite amazing the different types of system that, well, generally a body, whether it's human or a different kind of animal, how many systems we have, and they run a tight ship, generally, barring anything keeping it from doing what it's supposed to. Now let's get into the chest and just bring this down. Just moving my hand down to the axillary nodes. But yeah, lymphatic system, I mean, if you were to design an organism, I mean, would it occur generally to someone that you need a system that cleans up from around the tissues in the body, puts it back into the bloodstream and the heart? You know, who would think that as your blood is circulating that you need someone to come behind and make sure everybody gets to where they need to be? It's quite amazing. Human body is a beautiful thing. Highly organized. We gotta give it credit where credit is due. It's pretty cool. Okay. that's the upper chest and the arm. So let's go ahead and switch to your other leg right here. And then we will finish off with this leg over here. I'm just going to readjust you a little bit here. Get everything all tucked in. Okay. So here I am going to be stopping right about here. So if you had like a standard pair of shorts where that hemline would sit, that's as far as I'll be going. And like the arms, we have lymph nodes right in these areas. So here we'll start by just opening everything up. And the arms are a good reflection of the work that we do with the legs. But because it's a bigger area, we can use some other techniques as well. And I just want to spend a good amount of time opening everything up here, so that when we push the lymph fluid forward, then everything's not just log jammed. Good. Okay, so we're going to work a little further down. Everything goes towards the center of the body, towards the torso. And everything is very gentle. And from the knee there, let me might just adjust your pants here occasionally. The loose fabric sometimes gets bunched up, so we'll just work with that. And down the leg. Just using the flats of my fingers with those stationary circles, just to start out. Easy, gentle, and then we can come back. You ever had like really swollen feet at the end of the day? Yeah, like you've been on your feet all day, and you take off your shoes and like you still got the impression of the pattern of your socks, or even the little rivets in your shoes where the laces go and that are on the top of your feet. Yeah, sometimes it can be something as simple as just being on your feet all day. There's also, you might be a little dehydrated, or some medications cause that kind of swelling in the hands and the feet. But hopefully we can get this all pushed up and the fluid can go where it needs to. Maybe we can reduce that a little bit. The best thing for you to do otherwise is to get plenty of water. Your lymphatic system needs that water. Your body needs to have the right amounts of hydration to run correctly. It's like, the oil level in a car. You need that lubricant or else the engine blows up. Let's just bring this up. Up. And straight out. The pant leg again. I'm just going to kind of maneuver you this way so that I can get both hands moving from the ankle upwards. I'm just using the whole hand, my thumbs sweep up while the grip of my hand can still push everything forward. Just the lull of the evening and the methodical movement. It's quite meditative even for the person practicing. Just makes you slow down a little. You can focus on the task. So from the backs of the knees, working up. And this is a little interesting because I can just barely get my hands around the calf, but the rest of the leg is a lot bigger than my very small hands, so we can take it section by section. Adjust this here. And from the outside of the hip and the leg, we can also bring that inwards. Might be getting a touch too relaxed. I want to make sure I don't fall asleep on you. Just, cool, crisp air and being able to get nice and bundled up in layers. I swear if I do yawn, it's just because I am locked in here. It's nice being able to do this for people. Just makes you centered and grounded as well. let's just open this up a bit more, and then we'll do a little run through. And come down here and just bring everything up. Let's go ahead and finish off with the other leg then. Right, so let's finish off with this leg. So remember, our boundary line is right about here. And we'll get this all started. You're a little more cool to the touch when we get started, but everything is nice and warm as we work with the skin, which also can encourage a little bit of lymphatic movement as well. Well, I said before that you'll probably feel a little lighter. You might even have a little energy. It wouldn't surprise me if you might feel a little drained after this. Just for a day, maybe 2. Because everything is moving. And then it'll settle down a little bit. Go back to normal. Working down the leg. So, if you need to take it easy for a couple of days, that's pretty normal. A good excuse to just enjoy the stirrings of autumn. And the chilly weather. Maybe a nice hot beverage. I'm quite partial to green tea myself. Back in the day, I would make my own hot chocolate, cocoa powder, sugar, powdered milk, that sort of thing. Bit of salt. Just keeping going all the way down to the ankle so that we can have a clear area to work with. I think there are a few more pleasurable evenings as, you know, maybe there's a little bit of rain or the wind is quite fierce. It's quite chilly, and I often have classical music playing. I am quite partial to classical with a big C. I don't really like Baroque, not very much. Not a fan of Mozart and the like. Beethoven's my favorite composer. He has quite a wild story, and in some ways, quite a sad story. Just moving up along here. But one thing about Beethoven's compositions is that he broke all the rules for composing. So even to this day, his works sound so much fresher generally than his contemporaries because it's something just completely different. He was just born with a completely different perspective and a clear passion. So even to this day, his works remain so popular because they still sound plausibly as if they could be released today and be just something completely new. Cacophony here. But yes, often classical with a big C. I like romanticism quite a bit. We have a lot of composers from La Belle Époque. That was around the same time as Art Nouveau, the late 19th century, early 20th. You had like Claude Debussy, Eric Satie, and I can never get it's Camille Saint-Saëns, the Aquarium, I believe, that he did. I'm not necessarily as much of a fan of his work, but I do enjoy it. Just coming up the thigh. And there are quite a few contemporary composers I really enjoy, primarily those that do soundtracks. Was it Marco Beltrami? I believe he did, if I recall correctly, Underworld. Did he also do Hellboy? Well, the people who did those were... And then I often listen to the theme for The Village, 2004, directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan. I'm just coming from the outside of the leg as well as the top of the leg, bringing this down. And Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden. Absolutely beautiful. And of course I can see the composer's image in my mind, but they always have quite a few credits on there. And there's Thibaudet, Jean-Yves Thibaudet, something like that. Just beautiful. Classical music is still just as beautiful as it ever was. If not, maybe even a little bit more so, because it's a lot more accessible. Okay. Let's go ahead and open this area up before we just do a little run through. And we'll just bring that all forward. And I did not know this because I do not have social media. I really enjoy my favorite contemporary composers, Ludovico Einaudi, and apparently he is seen as quite basic and repetitive and just not very... He doesn't seem to be regarded very well, which is frustrating because I quite like how he builds on repetitive motifs. And I think they build and build and build. And I quite like that. It gives a stability to the piece. It always has a foundation to come back to. But there is no harm in just enjoying what you enjoy, whether people think it's amateur or not. Alright, there we are. So, that is going to finish up your manual lymphatic drainage treatment. Is there anything else I can do for you? Okay, well, it was an absolute pleasure working with you. I hope that you feel relaxed and you are able to get some excellent rest. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon, without which I wouldn't be able to make these videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, I have a link to my Patreon in the description box below. We have perks like early access to videos, ad-free access to said videos, Patreon exclusives, and audio downloads